So how early should you arrive at Mass then? And what should you do when you get there?
I always, I'm speaking for myself, obviously. I arrive early. Sunday Mass, I get there like 40 minutes ahead of time.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, like 30 to 40 minutes. And I just think that we're human. Like we can't just like turn off our brains. It takes time to kind of like get in the zone, so to speak.
That's certainly true. Yeah, you got to leave the rest of the world behind.
Yeah, and that's how
hour.
it takes me time to de-cleanse. Like just to get my worries aside, and I bring Divine Intimacy, which is this meditation book.
Oh, I love that. I use that all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, I've have read the readings beforehand, and just use that book as sort of just additional material for meditation. I pray my rosary when I run, so I don't do that in the church, but I do, like, for Sunday Mass, I like to get there early and just like be in quiet and pray, because it's the one time during the week that you just have the church to yourself. It's quiet before everyone starts coming in, and you can really just be there with the Lord, and you have time to not just like be reading stuff, but like to pray about like, what does this mean for me? What is God saying to me? So I've had many of those moments during, that little preparation. I do go to daily Mass during the week, and, I get there probably like 5 to 10 minutes before. It really just depends on work schedule, but I just see it as, it's a blessing to be able to get to Mass during the week, so I'm not as sort of stringent. But yeah, I do think that not rushing in. Obviously, there are circumstances where, like there's an accident, the road's closed,
right?
You can't get there.
Kind of stuff.
But I mean, yeah, it's just, especially if you're only going to Mass on Sunday, like just not to rush in, because I feel like the Mass that I go to is slowed down. It's because there's the Schola takes a lot of time to sort of like sing the different Mass parts. So I find that very helpful, because you can kind of like meditate and you don't feel rushed. But a lot of times I think it's just human nature. We get there, we're rushing, we can't relax, we're not focused, and then the readings happen, and it's like, what did we just read? And then, like you daydream during the homily, and then it's, the liturgy of the Eucharist.
A little preparation goes a long way, right?
Yeah, and I daydreamed, and now the Mass is over, so I think getting there, reflecting on the readings ahead of time, and just like getting in the zone to kind of like just leave the world behind is very important to making the most of the time.
I definitely struggle with that as a priest, because the sacristy is often Grand Central Station.
Yeah.
You've got your lectors coming in, you got your altar servers who are there, and they're making a ruckus, and your deacon has tons of questions, and then you're setting up. And so I did this past year put up the vesting prayers, which a lot of people don't realize. There are specific prayers when a priest puts on an alb and a cincture, which is the belt, and the stole, and then the chasuble, and optionally they can wear an amice, which is like a neck kind of guard, as it were. And it's really like you're getting ready for battle, because you're doing spiritual warfare out there at Mass. But there's certain prayers that you pray that really do kind of help you to enter into the mystery of it, and it kind of can help me to focus. Although I will say, I mean, I still sometimes really struggle focusing at Mass, just because as the priest, a lot of people don't realize that I can see everything that happens in the congregation.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, there's this one time I'll never forget. This guy's sitting in the front pew, and it's right at the Lamb of God, and all of a sudden he starts waving his hands back and forth like this. And if you're listening on the radio and you can't see it, just imagine me playing an accordion without an accordion between my hands. And after, I was so distracted. I was like, what the heck? And this is like a totally normal, like, businessman. Afterwards, I pull him aside. I'm like, Sean, what was that? It's like, oh yeah, too much hand sanitizer. I was like, you distract me so much.
Yeah.
And so as a priest, you really have to work on that interiority. And so I, like, for daily Mass, I'll do a holy hour before Mass, and that helps. For Sunday Mass, it's sometimes just so chaotic. You're just kind of trying to hang on there and really trying to not look at people as much as possible.
Yeah. I understand that. And I mean, maybe it's just a matter of every time that you find yourself getting distracted, of like not getting just discouraged with yourself, but just like bring it back in of like, okay, I was distracted. Let me focus now on like what's going on and get right back on track. But
I think the blessing of being a priest is that I get to be intimately involved in every prayer.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be very passively listening, like most of the congregation, but to actually say it does kind of spur one on to greater devotion.
Yeah, I have a funny story. There was a priest. I won't say his name because I don't. We're in our diocese, but he said he was saying mass. He's actually, this happened many times, but the Saint Michael prayer, and cast all the demons. What is it? I'm forgetting it right now.
The archangel defends the battle, your protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him.
We humbly pray.
Cast in hell all Satan.
Evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. And someone would hiss in the congregation.
What?
Like whenever, it's in the snake.
Yeah.
So I just.
Oh my.
It's like, if I was doing that and someone was hissing in the crowd, I'd lose it.
Oh, sometimes you just do. You just sometimes lose it.
Yeah. So I give you credit for even staying minutely focused.
But there's a sign hanging in my sacristy and a lot of sacristies too that says, "Priest of God, celebrate this mass as if it were your first mass, your last mass, and your only mass."
Yeah.
And that's not just for priests. You know, for lay people too. Enter this mass as if it was the last one you will ever attend, because at some point it will be.
Yeah.
And so how would you want to hear that mass well and pray at that mass well?
Right. And like it's your first, Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.